First, I was not going to post this on my YouTube channel, but Mercury and I worked very hard on this video. It's one of my favorite videos I've ever produced. The two of us worked very hard on this video, so I'm going to post it here for everyone to see it. Let me know how you think in the comments below. Thank you for watching.
He's fighting without oh, Jesus.
Defensively tonight as well.
Oh, man, look at that left hook.
Corner, you will not see heavy breathing.
Oh!
A better driver.
One time, in a fight, in a martial arts fight, I knocked this guy out. He never got up, and I started thinking that could be me. Because they took him away to the hospital, and I went back to talk to my instructor, and he wasn't there. It was in Anaheim, California, and I was living in Boston. We flew back to Boston after the tournament, and he said to me, "I heard you had a really good knockout," with his thick Korean accent. And I said, "Yeah." I go, it was really scary because he never got up. I go, I thought he was dead, and he goes, "Sometimes they die."
Combat sports. Mixed martial arts in particular is one of the toughest and most brutal sports. The UFC is one of the top promotions broadcasting and hosting events for fighters to compete for the top prize in their respected weight class. Is all the damage and violence the competitors take just for the entertainment of the fans? Mercury and I are heading to Westminster, Colorado because of one person in particular, Thug Rose Namajunas. For 4 years, starting in 2016, after already making a name for herself in the amateur scene in Wisconsin and already being signed by the UFC in 2013, becoming a runner-up in Season 20 of The Ultimate Fighter, Rose brought her talents to Colorado to train while she started her first title run in the women's strawweight division, defeating Joanna Jędrzejczyk in an amazing underdog TKO victory to win the championship for the first time. Today, we're at 303 Training Center to get an inside look from the competitors who are looking for the same success as Rose, as well as the trainers who give the competitors the skills and the tools that they need to succeed.
We wanted to find out why coaches and fighters started training and why they continue to this day. This is Daniel Gonzalez, professional fighter with LFA. He currently has a 2-2 record, and both victories he finished the fight. Neither have gone to decision. He is also one of the 303 striking coaches.
So I used to watch the UFC way back in the day, and so my dad would watch it a lot too, and so that kind of got me into it. And my dad actually knows the owner of the gym. He was friends with him in high school, so that when he opened this place, he got me training as a teenager, and that's kind of where I started.
Anthony Barrero, lifelong wrestler turned jiu-jitsu practitioner, who enjoys forming connections between wrestling and jiu-jitsu in his classes.
I always found, that martial arts was my excitement, ever since I was a kid. So after college, I realized I didn't want to continue in business or anything, so I started pursuing more of my martial arts. Started with wrestling, started in middle school, was pretty successful to the point where I realized I could have a career in martial arts, so kept working towards it and slowly made my way out here from the East Coast, New York.
Eric Gutierrez, a brown belt in jiu-jitsu that started his training at 303 in 2014 and started coaching classes shortly after.
I started coaching jiu-jitsu because I like to help people, and I know jiu-jitsu helped me out a lot, so I know I can help out literally everyone else. All I got to do is come to class.
Jason Good, first degree black belt in jiu-jitsu, also stand-up comedian in his spare time, began training around 13 years ago.
The coaching or the training?
The coaching.
The coaching, I had really bad stage fright, like horrific, to where I couldn't even talk in front of people, and I thought a nice intro would be teaching kids. So they actually had a class where they would teach you how to teach kids jiu-jitsu. So I joined that class, and they slowly introduce you to teaching like little tiny drills for kids. Then you build up to where you're actually running an entire class of kids in front of their parents. So once you can do that, then adult classes are easy.
So we knew why they started training and why they continue to this day, but had it made a significant impact on their lives?
I think just the love of the sport. Like it's the most fun thing in the world to me, even just sparring and being able to get in there and compete. Martial arts in general has really kind of completely changed my life. Before I started doing this full time, I was a high school dropout. I was just working at Walmart, didn't really have much going for me. And, now I'm a coach here at the gym. I compete professionally in MMA. I make my living from this, so it's kind of really shaped my entire adult life and my ability to, be able to pay the bills and kind of just do what I want. So it's been great.
It gives me fulfillment for sure, where I wouldn't have it in many other places in my life. Get to pursue my passion, which, as long as I could do that in my life, everything else doesn't really matter. I'm very blessed and thankful for my opportunities here.
Man, dude, that's a big question. I don't know, man. When I first came in here, I wasn't the most confident, outspoken person. And jiu-jitsu really gave me a platform to be able not just to work on my skills on the mat, but off the mat, which sounds crazy. There's an old saying, be a black belt on and off the mat. I feel like I'm definitely getting both doing that. I can talk to people and not be nervous. I can do this interview and not freak out about it. 10 years ago, that would have not been the same person. I know for a fact. So it's helped me out a lot, man.
As you can see, they all feel greatly impacted by their various martial arts training. But for Coach Jason, without his training, his father may not be alive today.
Yeah, I saved my dad's life once. I told the story when I got my black belt. So I kind of look out the front door and I see my dad chasing a shirtless dude across the highway. I open the door and I go booking across the street. And just as I get to the second lane, the dude turns around and just clocks my dad, drops him. So I get up to him. He turns around. He's, you want some of this? And I do a double leg where I basically just drop down, pick him up, and then I just body slammed him into the ground. And he does what all white belts do when you drop them on the ground, is they try to roll away from you. So when he did, I snatched him in this really nasty rear naked choke variation, to where all you do is you crush their throat so they don't go to sleep, but it hurts really, really bad. So I threw him in that, got him in back control, and I squeezed it harder than I've ever squeezed anything in my entire life. My dad, he's been a preacher his entire adult life, for like 30, 40 years, was cursing at the people on 911, screaming at him. And he looked, he's like, I guess Jason's just going to kill this dude. And then that's when I let off, because I was like, he's literally dying in front of me. So I had to let go of him a little bit. And then it's one cop jumps out, has a taser. I was like, don't tase him. I was like, he doesn't have a shirt. You're going to get me too. And then another cop, then another cop, then another cop, then another taser, then another cop, until I had 10 cops in a circle around me. And then they literally part like it's a movie. And this one cop walks up and he's like, what's up, Carlos? And he's like, what's up, David? Because they knew each other. It turns out this guy got arrested every 3 months for like 10 years, something like that, 6 years. I was talking to him, and the person I'm holding, Carlos, is like, hey, can you get this guy off of me? Because I'm still on his back. And the cop's like, he ain't hurting you. And just leaves me there. So for the next 10 minutes, he goes, hey, do you mind feeding him some water? I was like, all right, I guess. So I transition off to this sideways move where I can lock up his arms, that I have one hand free. And I literally laying on my side, feeding this dude 2 water bottles. And then they're like, all right, I hate to ask this, but can you help him smoke some cigarettes? I'm like, why not? I'm here, I guess. I'm not doing anything. So I get him in another funny move. I'm holding the cigarettes for him. He smokes through 2 whole cigarettes. And now they're like, all right, Carlos, you good? You chill? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. Sir, we're going to help. We're going to arrest him. Can you make sure he stays still? He's like, yeah, I got this. So I throw him in a body triangle and I get really fancy with it. They come up and put one handcuff on. Then I spin around. I do the other side. They throw the other handcuff in. And then they pick him up and they put him in the car. And then one of the cops like walks up to me and stands like right here. He's not looking at me. He's kind of side-eyeing me. He's like, so do you like do martial arts or something? I was like, yeah, I was second in the state in unlimited weight class this year. And they're like, okay, because when the last time we arrested him, it took us 6 cops and we tased him twice just to get him in the car. He ended up killing 2 people about 8 months later.
Finally, we asked them, in 5 years' time, do they see themselves still pursuing the sport, pursuing their training, and continuing to study the craft?
Hopefully still fighting, I want to be able to, try to make a run to the UFC and get to that level. But if not fighting, I definitely will still be coaching in 5 years. I've got a good group of young guys right now that we've got getting their first couple fights going as amateurs. So that's been real exciting, and I think I'm going to continue with that no matter what.
Yes. I see myself with a lot of jiu-jitsu, a lot of students, hopefully some black belts. That'd be cool. Yeah, I definitely see myself coaching.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
We got very interesting and genuine commentary on combat sports, but we wanted a little more contrast. So we went over to Primo's gym where they're training the next great WWE sensations. While we know this wrestling is more acting than combat, the hits aren't always pulled and the risk of any combat sport remains, but for these wrestlers, it's all part of the journey.
I've been doing combat sports since I was about like 6-ish. I've done just about everything, and I think WWE and AEW, I've always been a fan, and like I've always wanted to pro wrestle, so I did amateur wrestling, and that wasn't for me, and so I finally found the gym and went into this.
I started competing last August in combat sports. I had never actually been to a gym before in my life. I come from a musical theater background, so I thought it was like musical theater with muscles, and it turns out it's more like Whose Line Is It Anyway with muscles.
I think I started coaching probably back in 2016 or so, down in Phoenix. I started coaching here 2020, 2021 when we opened up at this location.
I feel like it's helped fix posture, attitude.
How hasn't it changed my life? It kind of gave me a life where I didn't really want to have one anymore, without getting too bleak. That's pretty much what it does for me every day. It gives me that reason to get out of bed and go and kick people's butts in front of other people who watch me and cheer me on while I kick people's butts. There's just something about that makes me want to go and be in front of cameras as much as I possibly can.
They've given me a little bit more discipline than I probably had. It's given me a lot of camaraderie and spirit de corps that I really only experienced in the Navy, but other than in combat sports and pro wrestling, it's really built up a network and almost more like a family. At this point, I know I can go to just about anywhere in the country now, and if I need a couch to crash on for the night or something, I know I can do that. And that's not something you get from a run-of-the-mill job or, just other things like that. That is something you can really only get from team sports, combat sports, anything along those lines.
Motivating me to fight is the fact that combat sports and specifically professional wrestling doesn't just save my life, but it ruins my death. I have had a lot of mental and emotional turmoil, just as everyone has, especially after the pandemic times occurred. And it kind of gives me that gusto I need to keep going and to fight for everybody else out there, because it's not just me that I fight for. I fight for the minorities like me, I suppose.
At this point, I'm almost 40. The thing that motivates me is to try to get people to that next level or places that I wasn't necessarily able to work. I know how to get there. I know what I'm doing. I just never had the opportunity, so I'm trying to help the next generation get that opportunity.
Yeah, of course. I've always wanted to do this. This is my goal. This is all I've ever wanted to do. This is what I want to get paid doing. I want to make a living out of it. I want to make a name for myself.
Absolutely. In 5 years' time, I see myself still fighting with much more gold around my waist, probably with some death matches and maybe a little TV time underneath my belt as well. But yes, absolutely still fighting, still kicking butt, still out here being the almighty EMT, or the menagerie tinker.
More than likely, yeah. I don't see anything happening that would change my course or what I'm doing, so at this point, 5 years from now, I see myself doing it, but
¡Qué precisión! ¡Qué cambio de piernas para conectar directo la quijada de Wilson!
Pensaba que iba la pierna, le finta.
Like sometimes you hit someone and it's like a perfect shot. Like that you hit him, they were running it. He was running he was coming at me, and I kicked him with something called a wheel kick. It has a crazy amount of power. You spin around and you hit someone with the heel of your foot. It's my heel hurt for days.
Jesus.
I was limping, walking from hitting his head.
The brutal nature of the sport, all those we interviewed can't imagine life without it. It's a sport that's taught them discipline and responsibility. They find fulfillment in passing on their knowledge and find camaraderie with trainees, fellow coaches, and outside of the ring with fellow fighters. It provides a sense of security in a chaotic world and even save the lives of loved ones. Truly a life-changing sport.